All right. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another beautiful episode of the World Championship of 3D CAD speed modeling. How is everybody doing? I'm just going through making some adjustments here. As always, I rely on all of you wonderful people to let me know if everything sounds good, if my voice sounds good, if the audio sounds good, if the music is good. But let's just get started here while we're making sure that everything sounds good by saying hello to some people. I see a lot of old friends here in the chat. I see Will is here in the chat. He's going to be competing today. I see Regina is here. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. AMO Alex is here. Hello. We got Tracy Chadwick in the chat and running the tournament today. Hello. Eric Beatty, old friend of the show, former co-commentator, is here. Welcome. We got Gary Bruce in the chat saying hello from sunny Oklahoma. Welcome, one and all. We got Bucks here from South Africa. Welcome, Bucks. Great to see you. I know you had a question there earlier in the chat. I'm going to answer that in just a few minutes. We got KamSmiff here. Liam Hunter is here. Welcome. And we got Santiago. Good morning, y'all. Good luck. Thank you. We got Craig here from the UK. Thank you, Craig, for joining us. We got Ivan here from Canada. Thank you, Ivan, for joining us. And we got Tayfun here. We got Ex Machina Engineering here. Welcome. Gary Bruce, I think we said hi to you already. We're going to say hi again. You get a double hi. And I think that pretty much covers everybody who said hi so far. But if you're here in the chat and you want to sound off, feel free to say hello. And like I said, please let me know if anything sounds out of line, if anything's too loud, if anything's too quiet. But great to see everybody here. Welcome. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday morning, which is Saturday, September 2nd. And we got a very, very special co-commentator here with us today. So if you guys could please put a 1 in the chat to welcome none other than Chris Castle from SOLIDBOX. Chris, how are you doing? Welcome, and thank you so much for being here with me today.
Toby, it's so great to be back. I've been on this long road trip with my family, and this gave me a great excuse to shave and get back behind a computer. So thank you for that. I can't wait to see these guys rock out today.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good one today. We got a bunch of ones coming through in the chat, welcoming you to this.
What's up, guys?
What's up? Welcome. And yeah, I think today is going to be a really good matchup. Guys, if you're not familiar with Chris's work, he is the founder, CEO. I'm kind of making up titles here, so owner, executive, enthusiast, evangelist of SOLIDBOX. And SOLIDBOX is an amazing company to partner with. If you are ever in need for any kind of a professional level CAD or CAM engineering hardware, computers that just kind of work right out of the box, you definitely want to check out the crew at SOLIDBOX. And I know I've said it before, Chris, but I think that the biggest testament that I hear about your company is that when customers partner with you, they become customers for life. They see the value that SOLIDBOX brings, and they see like, oh man, this is so much easier than us getting computers and having to take them to IT and have IT configure them and tweak them. And, and you guys also, provide services to help people down the road. So they don't have to necessarily get rid of, the computer they bought from you a couple years ago. You can just kind of help them refresh that computer, tune up that computer so they can continue getting value from that hardware. And I just think it's awesome. I love your company. I love talking to people about your company because they're always so enthusiastic. So thank you for, for putting together such a good company.
Dude, thank you, man. We've been doing it since 2009, which is crazy. SOLIDBOX has been around since 2009. We started when Windows 7 came out officially. Nice. That was October 29th, 2009. That's when we started because we actually tweaked Windows to be better for SOLIDWORKS, and we've been doing that ever since. And we're excited. We're about to release a SOLIDBOX official version of Windows 11. And that's kind of crazy, right? We're like at Windows 11 now. That's crazy. But I just found out that Windows 12 is actually coming out too. So that's like, wow. But yeah, we tweaked the Windows operating system. So that's kind of one of our big things. And, if speed and efficiency and just stability are your thing, talk to us, please. But otherwise, we just love the CAD community. And what you're doing with this is great because the way you and I know each other is I reached out to you a few years ago because I'm like, hey, I want to do this online tournament thing. You're like, I'm already doing that. And it was like, what? So anyway, you're doing it better than we could have ever done it. So we're just happy to be a sponsor, man. And the people in the chat, people I meet who know about the tournament, man, they're just great. They're true enthusiasts. And that's what we're all about, man. We've always put money in like, the whole corporate thing and the back burner. We're all about like actually enjoying the CAD, enjoying design, teaching people how to do design more efficiently. So man, we're in the right spot right now.
Well, and it definitely shows. I mean, I know that the team at SolidBox won an award from the SolidWorks Corporation or SolidWorks World last year that was basically recognizing you for all the hard work that you put in to help support the SolidWorks community. And that's really one, in my opinion, it's the most prestigious award because it's the award that comes from the user group community. So, you really like have put yourself out there. You've really said like, we need to get back to doing in-person user groups. I don't care what it takes. And it was you and your team that really kick-started that. And you got recognized for it, which is pretty cool. And so if you guys are out there watching and you want to partner with a company that loves the users, that truly supports the end users, next time you're in the market for some new hardware, if it's you, if it's your team, be sure to check out mysolidbox.com. A lot of good solutions there that are just going to help your team be as efficient as possible.
Thanks, Toby. Appreciate the shout out.
Yeah, and I understand you're back from a little road trip. You took a little road trip?
Yeah, so for the last 8 months, I've been building an RV. And, you're probably thinking, why would you do that? And what happened was I had an RV and it got totaled. So I took all the stuff out of it. I designed I made a model in SolidWorks to simulate or replicate what I had this enclosed trailer. And so I used SolidWorks to design or basically fit where I wanted to put all this stuff inside the trailer and make it an RV. My wife didn't really quite believe this could happen. And I got in that trap. I know a lot of people in this chat will relate to this, but your significant other at some point in your life might doubt you. They might say, why would you do that? And then you realize, man, I really shouldn't have done this. I don't want to prove her right. So I'm going to do everything it takes. Doesn't matter how much money I'm going to waste to prove that person wrong. And so 8 months later, I did create the RV. We just took it out on this road trip with the family. It worked. Minimal leaks, minimal electrical problems. It came together. But I'm excited to show off the RV model at some point to the crowd and let them pick it apart, and also maybe have it be an inspiration making your own RV, because these days, man, with all these cool tools we have, like there's no excuse to be buying that much stuff. You should be able to make a lot of your own stuff. So anyway, I want to show that off at some point, but I'm just glad that I don't have to worry about working on it anymore. I'm like done for a while.
You road tested it and it worked, and that's very cool and very impressive too. I mean, I know that you often are very humble about your SolidWorks skills, but you truly are a SolidWorks thug. And I think that, you were able to put those skills to the test to put something together that's going to be a moving vehicle experiencing vibration, and everything held together.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool.
Maybe you'll see the RV in person on November 11th at the finals.
Yes, I would love that. Well, I'm excited to have you back. I think we have you back for at least one more virtual, live stream like this, and then we're going to be together in person on November 11th at the finals. So let's get into it and talk a little bit about what that road is going to look like. If you guys are watching right now and you want to make sure that you're on board for the upcoming episodes, just take note that the YouTube playlist on my YouTube channel does have all the upcoming episodes available, so you can get in there. You can set yourself reminders. Simultaneously, I am working on the new TooTallToby.com/calendar site. So the new TooTallToby.com/calendar site will also have some of these upcoming appointments, and you can definitely add them to your calendar. Also, on that note, just kind of a quick announcement for those of you who are following the new TooTallToby.com. There's some functionality that I think you'll find very, very helpful, very useful. It's not in this screen capture, but up at the top, we do now have the new leaderboard. So I know a lot of you out there were excited about, hey, when's the leaderboard coming back? When's the leaderboard coming back? You can check that out at TooTallToby.com up at the top. And then one of the questions that came into the chat before we got started today from Bucks was, is there a way I can get a copy of some of these prints so that we can do kind of an in-house engineering challenge. I think that was what you asked, right? Yeah, do you have the files available to host a similar competition at our office? We got about 16 designers doing a team building. So if you go to the new TooTallToby.com, you sign up for an account, you're going to get issued 100 TTT cash. So it is truly a cryptocurrency. It is truly running on a blockchain. We're running on the Cardano blockchain. But if you go there and you sign in, you're going to get issued this TTT cash, and then you can use that for this downloadable content that's up at the top here of the general store. And that's a 10-pack of PDFs with answers, all new challenges that you haven't seen before, maybe similar to old challenges, but slightly tweaked. And you can use those for any educational purpose. So that's going to land right into the scope of what you're talking about there, Bucks. That's a great place to start. I'm going to have more of those 10 packs available in the future, so you can keep going back and looking at that. I do just want to say this is all running on blockchain, and we're still kind of in the beta launch of this website. So on the front end, the purchase might not reconcile right away. It says it's going to take 5 minutes to show up in your wallet. It might take a little bit longer than that. So just kind of like get the process started now, and those should be there. Hopefully they'll be there within the next couple of minutes, but if not, they'll be there a little later tonight. If you want to try it, Bucks, and then let us know in the chat if it works for you, if those PDFs showed up in your DLC content on your TooTallToby account, let us know. I'm sure the rest of the chat would love to know that. But that is my answer to your question. Check out the new TooTallToby.com. There's lots of good stuff in there, including the new leaderboard. We're still in beta. It's not really mobile ready yet, so if you're doing it from your phone, you're gonna struggle a little bit. But we're gonna get there. We're just, it's a big process. Rolling out a new website with membership is a big process. So check it out. I think you guys will really like it. Check out some of the artwork. There's an Ivan exploit NFT in there. You can check out. You can buy that with some TooTallToby cash as well. There's a 2D printer NFT in there. You can check that out as well. So lots of cool artwork in there. Lots of cool stuff to come. And enjoy the new build of the website. We're enjoying seeing all the great feedback. And we'll talk about that a little bit more on Monday. We are going to do a Model Monday Live this Monday. So you can join us at Model Monday Live. We're going to be rocking it, doing some 3D modeling using Onshape to model up some of these challenges that we see today during the tournament. And we're also going to talk about the new website. All right, I kind of went off on a tangent there. Sorry, guys. I know that I burned off a lot of time there. What do you think about that part of the presentation, Chris?
You're getting me, like, you're dragging me slowly into the crypto world a little bit, and just like you're helping me like get into this new world of digital assets that I've avoided so badly. But I trust you, so I'm willing to like make this my initiation into this world. It looks really cool.
This website's really good training wheels. You don't have to worry about any money or anything. It's just training wheels. So
it's hard being the pioneer of a totally new like format for a tournament and a game in general. So yeah, kudos to you, man. And what's gonna happen, I think, is there's going to be all these people who just jump on the bandwagon pretty soon. And, it's going to be nice to have an NFT that kind of shows, hey, I was one of the original people that was into this.
Yeah, I mean, the first people that sign up for the website are going to get that How Fast You CAD NFT. So that's going to be, that goes to the first, I think there's 300 of those tokens. We'll probably give out like 250 of them to the first 250 people that sign up for the website. So, and that's going to be it. Once those 300 are distributed, they're going to be locked into people's wallets, and they're going to be rare. So
when's the what would John Hirschstick do t-shirt coming out? Like, when's that going to be a thing on the store?
We are going to have some new t-shirts actually coming out soon. We're going to talk about them a little bit later in the presentation.
Okay.
So yeah, great question. So, all right, guys, let's get into it. I talked enough here. Hopefully that was enough time for everybody to get logged in, to check out what's going on today. Let's start out by taking a look at our 32-person bracket. And we're going to start out by jumping in here to the black bracket. The black bracket is sponsored by JOKO Engineering. Check them out, www.jokoengineering.com. And JOKO will make all your CAD dreams come true. So check out jokoengineering.com, our sponsor of the black bracket. And we're going to see a matchup today, September 2nd, between Chadwick and Tarek Shohdy in the black bracket. We're also going to take a look at the blue bracket today. The blue bracket is sponsored by SOLIDBOX, www.mysolidbox.com, your partner for any professional level CAD, CAD-related hardware or services. You guys do services too, training. You guys really do it all. So huge shout out to SolidBox. And we're going to see in the blue bracket today, Will, on September 2nd, going up against KamSmiff, former world champion of 3D CAD speed modeling. That's going to be a really good matchup. We're also gonna just notice here that down in the green bracket, we've got a good matchup coming up next week with Joush, who was, he's on the leaderboard. If you look at the leaderboard at TooTallToby.com, he was the number 2 seed. Joush running Inventor next week. So that's going to be an awesome matchup against Abel. And then we're going to finish things off here next week on with a matchup between Mr. Alex, who's in the chat, going up against Jihan Rifa from Egypt. So these are going to be some good matches that we got coming up here in the tournament. Shout out to a Libre, who's also a new sponsor that we picked up in the red bracket. We're going to talk about a Libre a little bit more today as well. Be sure to visit a Libre. They make powerful 3D CAD that's affordable, a great solution. We saw a Libre runner in the beginning of the tournament. We saw a Libre being run by Ty, and I think we're going to see some more Libre runners next year. A great CAD community there and a great CAD solution as well. So there's a lot that goes into setting this thing up, Chris. 32 runners plus 4 people on the waiting list, 15 countries represented, and 8 different CAD systems. But unfortunately, not everybody is going to make it through. We did lose some of these countries along the way. People got knocked out, and they were the only person representing the country. So we're going to see who continues to get through here. And we also lost 2 of the CAD systems. We lost a Libre. We lost FreeCAD. But we've still got an Ansys runner. We've got some Fusion runners, Onshape runners, SolidWorks runners, Inventor runners, and a CATIA V5 runner in the tournament. Pretty wild, huh?
Whoa, CATIA V5? Nice. So one of the things I love about the tournament is the fact that you do have all these CAD systems represented. It's crazy to me how many people I will meet who will know nothing of another CAD software. They will have no idea what it can do. And like, for example, a Libre. I remember using a Libre in 1999, and my professor said, "Hey, you should check this Libre out." And I mean, it's crazy. It's this CAD software running on a PC back in the 90s, right?
Wow.
And the fact that it's been around so long, I mean, that's a big deal, because these other, some of these CAD systems, they have a lot of money behind them. And the fact that a Libre is so inexpensive and it's been around for so long, I mean, it's a big deal. That's a big deal. And
yeah, I didn't realize the Libre had been around for that long.
Yeah, oh yeah. And then Iron CAD as well. I mean,
let's get some Iron CAD runners in here.
Yeah, and the Libre was in Texas, so shout out Texas. That's I'm glad that they
hold that thought for
yeah, what do you think? What do you think, Toby?
Yeah, hold that thought for 1 second, Chris, because we didn't plan this, but I do want to I want to circle back to that point in just a moment. I want to give, first of all, a huge shout out to my team, Mrs. Tall Toby and Bodie McBoatpants, who I try to thank every week because they definitely helped me get this thing running. This is actually the Bodie McBoatpants NFT here as well, so more on that in a bit. But the question is there a prize for this thing? And we've talked about this in previous weeks, and there is a prize. This whole road leads to November 11th, which we've talked about already. And the prize is going to be for all 4 of the runners who make it to November 11th. So 3rd and 4th place are going to get $125 each. 2nd place is going to get $250 USD. And 1st place is going to get $500 USD. So everybody who makes it to November 11th is going to get paid. But beyond that, there's actually an additional prize. This is the first time I've announced this. This is something very special that's going on here. A Libre is putting up some seats of their software for quite a few of the runners in this tournament. So we're going to officially announce this. We're just working out the final details of this right now, but we're really excited to be working with the Libre, and we're going to be getting the Libre seats out to, I'll just say, quite a few of the runners who are in this tournament. I don't want to say quite how deep it goes, but there's a lot of people who are going to be able to access a Libre, learn a little bit more about this CAD solution. I see the chat here going nuts about a Libre. Yes, indeed, this is very cool. And Chris, we didn't plan this, but I love that you're giving them a shout out, unprompted here. So what do you think about that?
I love it. I know this is a big deal. I'm all about competition, man. I'm all about people putting together the best that they can and letting things, stand on the merits of things. And so to see a Libre do this that's pretty awesome. Yeah. And I hope we can get more people next year doing, entering. I think a Libre could put out maybe maybe some messaging to its customer base and say, hey, you got what it takes. Let's step it up and enter this tournament. So
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm very excited about this. We're going to talk about this more next week when a Libre is one of the sponsors of our brackets. So look forward to that. But guys, we got a big announcement coming, some additional prizes coming in, and we're going to see what else we can do about getting some additional prizes for these runners. They're putting in a lot of time getting through this tournament. So let's try to give them some recognition. And I love all the feedback in the chat. We got Tom Schnars in the chat saying so awesome. He's excited about a Libre being out there. So shout out to Tom Schnars in the chat. All right, guys, let's get into what we're doing today. Today, we are going to have our matchups here on September 2nd. And our first matchup is going to be sponsored by the Black Bracket sponsor, JOKO Engineering, making all your CAD dreams come true. And this is going to be between Chadwick, running Inventor from the United States, and Tarek Shohdy from Egypt, running SOLIDWORKS. This is going to be a good matchup. Chadwick puts out a lot of content on his Between CAD Classes social media channels, so be sure to check out his channels. And then we're going to get into the blue bracket, sponsored by SolidBox. Shout out to SolidBox. And in the blue bracket, we're going to see Will from Brazil going up against KamSmiff from the United States, both of them running SolidWorks. CSWP versus CSWE. Let's see how that one goes down. And if you're out there and you're enjoying this live stream, be sure to help out the channel. The easiest way to help the channel is just by hitting that like button. Looks like we got about 40 people watching. We got 15 likes. Let's see what we can do to get that to be a 1-to-1 ratio. Always good when we have that like and viewer count at a 1-to-1 ratio. So let's see what we can do to get that number up. It's the easiest way to support the channel. And of course, if you like what you're seeing here, be sure to share and reshare. You can take a screen capture of these matchups, post it on your social media. And if you visit TooTallToby.com, I got to change this slide. Don't join the mailing list, just join the actual site, TooTallToby.com. We do have t-shirts available at TooTallToby.com, although I will say the shop is a little bit funky right now, so maybe you want to hold off on getting those t-shirts till next week. All right, here's how it works, Chris. This first match is going to be between Chadwick and Tarek, and what we're going to do is we're going to see here that I'm going to show a 2D print to these guys on this YouTube live stream, and they are going to try and take that 2D print, turn it into a 3D model, calculate the mass, and enter that mass directly in the YouTube chat. And the rules for this thing are that this is going to be a best of 3 matchups. You do have to earn 2 points in order to advance. So after you win one matchup, you'll earn a point. And then if you win your second matchup, you'll advance to the round of 16. You're allowed to get one wrong answer. So if you got it wrong, Chris, I would say, I'm sorry, Chris, that mass is incorrect. And I would ask you to go back and look at your model and see if you can get it correct again. If you get it wrong a second time, then that's it. We're going to put a timer up for the other runner, and it's going to be up to them to come up with the correct answer. But you do need to answer correctly in order to earn the point. There's no freebies here.
Yeah.
And for the audience, if you want to play along with, you absolutely can. You can take a screen capture of the 2D print. That way you can kind of see what kinds of challenges our runners are running into. But you should not help them. Don't type anything in the chat. Don't be like, hey, you missed a fillet, or you shelled that at the wrong thickness, or anything like that. These guys are our stars today, so let's really let them shine. And certainly don't post the mass in the chat. If you want to flex to the rest of the chat, you could just say, I got the answer, but don't say what the answer is. Please, we want to really give these guys a chance to shine. Alrighty, and I think that's it. Let's get into it. I know that was a little bit of a longer intro. Usually we're at like the 18-minute mark when we get into this first match. We're at the 26-minute mark, so we're running a little bit long today. But these guys are kind of speed demons, so I think they're gonna make up for this time a little bit.
That's exactly what's happening. You're stalling because you know that the times are getting shorter. And so you gotta fluff it up a little bit. That's okay. That's all good.
Exactly. All right, so let's learn a little bit about our runners. Chadwick teaches CAD at a community college. So Between CAD Classes is his social media. He does a lot of great content on a few different CAD systems there, and also teaches CAD at a community college. That's awesome. He's an avid hockey fan. Go New Jersey Devils. Even though he doesn't live on the East Coast, he still likes the Devils, so that's good. And is a huge lover of Star Wars and is currently building a full-scale R2-D2. Impressive.
Full scale?
Full scale. Very nice.
Okay.
And we see that Tayfun from Egypt, 3D designer, machinist, is a mechatronics and robotics senior. So maybe a student still, maybe at university. SolidWorks mechanical design freelancer for 1 year. That's nice. That's a good road to get on. If you can get a couple of good customers, you can keep them forever. That's a solid investment. And also interested in robotics competition and ROS. So these two guys could probably get together and make that R2-D2 functional.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally international collaboration.
Yeah, let's go. Let's see what happens. All righty. And let's see here. All righty. I'm just making sure there's nothing in the chat. I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to give these guys a quick practice round just to kind of, get rid of the butterflies and make sure that we have everything on the technical side good to go here. So we're going to do a quick practice match here for our runners. Here we go, guys. We're going to have Chadwick on the left. We're going to have Tafon on the, we're going to have Tarek on the right. And let's get into it here. This first CAD battle, which is just going to be a practice model, just a practice model here, is going to begin in 3, 2, 1, go. So these guys are going to grab a screen capture of this print. What is the mass of this part in in 0.xxxxx pounds? 5 X's. Wow. A lot of X's on that one. But really what we're doing is we're just making sure that all systems are working. What do you think the answer to this one is, Chris?
I feel like it's gonna be a pound or so. I don't know. I'm just gonna go off of like what looks right. I don't know. What material is this again?
Material in this one? I don't remember.
Oh, okay. I hope that Tracy doesn't have too much pressure on him right now. People are giving him a new name, Chadwick.
Whoa. Okay.
I mean, I like that name. I think
Chadwick.
If he advances through this, I think he might have to update his name on the leaderboard.
Yep.
So that's just too cool of a name.
Chadwick has answered and is answering here, but is answering with the incorrect precision. So I'm sorry, Chadwick, that is not correct. You have to get the precision correct. Tarek coming in with the incorrect precision. Let's make that 5 places and get that correct. Sahil coming in with the correct amount of precision from the chat. Remember, Sahil, we're going to let these guys answer. I know it's just a practice round, but I'm going to still remove that comment because we want to make sure we let these guys shine today. Yeah,
is that look at Tarek's mass. He's got it. Is it really 0.1?
There we go.
2, 3, 4, 5?
And Tarek comes in with the correct answer, 0.12345. And if this was a real match, that would earn Tarek the point. We would see a point show up here, but this is just practice. This is not the real deal. This is just practice here. So congratulations to both of our runners. Very nicely done there. Whoops. Very nicely done there. And what do you think about that matchup, Chris?
You know what's funny is that I know exactly how these guys feel right now because you can be such a proficient CAD user, and this is not a big deal. But right now, both these guys' hands are sweating. They're kind of freaked out a little bit. They're a little nervous. Like, damn, that was a little mistake.
Yeah.
That's what's great about competition. It really does push you to a different level.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. All right, well, guys, we are here in the black bracket, and we are going to bring up the Wheel of Fate. And we are going to see here what the Wheel of Fate has in store for these runners today. The Wheel of Fate is sponsored by our friend JOKO Engineering. JOKO Engineering, making all your engineering dreams come true. And let's take a look at the wheel here and find out what the wheel has in store for our runners. This is going to be good today, I think. So let's give this thing a spin. You want to make any predictions here, Chris? What do you think the wheel is going to give these
27.
guys? 27. All right, let's rip this thing. Let's see what happens. Here we go. Good luck to our runners. What does the Wheel of Fate have in store for you? Oh, looks like 30.
No. Yeah.
T30. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Yeah, T30. Okay. All right, guys. Let me hide the Wheel of Fate here. Chris, you got any advice for these guys beyond making sure that they don't have sweaty palms?
I'd highly recommend stretching your hands out, making sure that index finger is, not too tight.
Yep.
It's the best advice now I can give you.
Okay.
I'll review the work and give more.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. We'll probably have some more advice between the first and second match here. So yeah, that's good. I would say, guys, just relax a little bit. We've had a couple of people tell us that their resting heart rate in these tournaments based on their their Fitbit or whatever is like 165. We don't want anybody maxing out here. We want to just keep it real here. But I understand, and I understand what you're saying too, Chris. These guys, I'm sure, are very nervous right now. This is it. This is the big deal, and this is your chance to advance to the round of 16. So let's get into it here. Our very first CAD battle of this Saturday, September 2nd, begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXXX grams? Tolerance is plus or minus 1 gram. This part is called Simple Speaker. It's made of 1060 aluminum alloy, and the unit system is MMGS. Our runners are both grabbing a screen capture, thinking about their game plan for how they're going to model this, and jumping into their CAD systems. So let's jump in and see how they do. On the left, we got Chadwick running Inventor, the Autodesk Inventor product. And on the right, we got Tarek running SOLIDWORKS. So they've both grabbed a screen capture of this thing. This is a simple speaker inspired by a desktop speaker that you might see. Kind of a tricky part, a lot going on with this thing. You gotta, whenever you're trying to come up with a plan on how to, take a 2D print and turn it into a 3D model, Tarek's asking to see the screen capture again. Let me go back there to that full screen. We're gonna give Tarek a chance to grab this screen capture again.
Tracy's like blazing out of the gate right now.
Decided to start with that kind of side profile of this thing, right? I think that's a logical.
And what's crazy too is that he was ready. He had a template folder on his screen specifically for TooTallToby tournament stuff, and he was just ready to pick the right template. That's a huge thing right away. Is you should have every template you need for this competition. You should have IPT and MMGS one with the right precision. So that gave him a huge advantage right away. So
yeah, that's definitely a good bit of advice. In fact, I actually have a video on the TooTallToby YouTube channel about how to create templates and about how to use those templates specifically for the tournament. Exactly what you're talking about. So if you're out there watching and you're using SolidWorks and you want to know how to set up your templates to be optimized for the tournament, be sure to check out that video for sure. I also just want to call out Eric in the chat, says simple speaker, more like a startled robot. That's pretty funny. Yeah, that is what it kind of looks like there.
That was awesome, Eric. That was really good.
So we see here that we've got this thing, this model. It's got these kind of knobbies on it, and certainly that's going to present a challenge as well. You're going to have to decide, how do you want to create those knobbies? How do you want to approach that? Do you want to do it as an extrusion, kind of moving right into the thing? Do you want to do it as are there other techniques you could use? You could maybe use like a revolve or something like that to create those knobbies. We got this slot down at the bottom you're going to have to work on. So as always, I think what these guys are doing is they're looking at the 2D print and they're trying to come up with a plan on how to kind of unbuild it. Like, what features am I going to use for each step of the way? It's pretty interesting to see how Chadwick is going about creating that knobby. It looks like he's done it with 2 circles as almost a layout, and then he's going to be creating that knobby. But how's he going to get the knobby on the other side of the model? That's my question.
Yeah, and the fact that he made that plane, that reference plane to terminate his extrusion is interesting. The one thing I see right away between the two guys, between Tarek and Chadwick here, is that Tarek's already moved right away to adding fillets and things like that to his model. So he's kind of thinking about this overall boss, this initial boss, before he adds those knobs. I don't necessarily agree with that method, but let's see how it works out.
Yeah, I like the way he's thinking ahead about the model. I like the way he's kind of getting that first basic shape in place, creating the speaker shape from the side and then getting in and adding those fillets. That way he's not going to forget about them later. He knows that he's got that taken care of, and he's kind of like localized the features that belong to that, almost to that part if this was an assembly. So I like that as well. But I also like the way that Tracy is saving the fillets for the end. There are some methodologies with regards to feature creation order, and a lot of times people do say, hey, you should probably save your fillet to the end. So I like both of these techniques.
So what do you think about the Ivan exploit being used potentially here with these bosses?
Definitely could do it. I think that a lot of times you're going to see, I think that just generally speaking, you're going to see more opportunity to use the Ivan exploit in the round of 32, and that's going to decrease as we get into the round of 16. The models are going to get more complicated. There's going to be less opportunity to use that. You could certainly use it here. I think that, a lot of times it just ends up taking longer to try to figure out how to use the Ivan exploit than it would to just straight create the geometry, especially here in this round of 32, but definitely you'll see some opportunities for it.
My colleague Chris Smith, who you know well, he practices. I think he downloads a lot of the prints, or he goes back to the live stream. Takes the screen capture, recreates a lot of stuff, and he's going for speed these days. I see that in an effort to go for speed, he's not necessarily doing things that a professional CAD user would do. Like maybe some underdefined sketches and stuff like that. So it's funny how speed modeling presents an opportunity to go faster and dirtier, almost, sloppy.
It could, yeah, it definitely could. I mean, we don't want to encourage people to do it that way, but it definitely could, for sure. Guys, I just want to say that Tracy Chadwick has come in with an answer here, 1,545 grams, and that is correct. So congratulations to Tracy coming in there with the correct answer. Well done, well done. We're not gonna give him the victory cat yet. Sorry, that was a misclick. But we are gonna give him the 1 point. Very nicely done. Congratulations to Chadwick. Nice job with that simple speaker / startled robot. Got through it, was able to create that model, was able to come up with the exact correct mass. That's what it's all about here at the World Championship of 3D CAD speed modeling. Man, that was a pretty good match.
Eric, I want to make a comment. Eric brought up a good point. He says he disagrees with the Ivan exploit, and he's right. Given that drafted face, that angled face, you do have to really nail that vertical position of those knobs. That's true. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, great point there, Eric. Yep, you're absolutely right. So GG, guys, let's give a GG to Chadwick. Let's give a GG to Tarek. Both of our runners, very nicely done. Chadwick is going to get that first point, but this match is far from over. We're going to see another matchup here. You do have to win 2 points in order to move on to the round of 16. And so let's take a look here at our next challenge. Let's see what the wheel has to say for these guys for this next challenge. Chris, you're 0 for 1. Do you want to give it another try here and see if you can predict what the wheel is going to give these guys?
Yeah, I think it's still 27. I don't know why.
Feeling that 27. All right, let's rip it. Let's see what happens here. Shout out to JOKO Engineering, the sponsor here of our black bracket. Oh!
A very cool logo, by the way.
What's it gonna be? Oh man, you got ripped off on that one, bro. Wow.
Oh God.
Wow. Man, right on the line. That was like in Wheel of Fortune when you just click into the bankrupt. Oh man.
Yeah, that's classic Price is Right stuff right there.
Yeah, let's go. All right. Well, let me just make a quick note here. All righty, and that is 28. Okay. Well, I think this is going to be a good one too, but man, that was right on that 27. That was exciting.
Yeah, I see Tarek's got his got a blank template up ready. I mean, he's assumed a specific template, so let's see how that works out. Let's see if that gives him an advantage.
Yeah, we do need to start out actually by clicking new as part of the rules for this tournament. So you don't want to start out with anything on the screen. You want to make sure you click new whenever you go to start a new document. That is part of the rules here. So we'll keep an eye on that for Tarek. But let's take a look and learn a little bit more. It looks like Chadwick started using AutoCAD in 1996 and has expanded to several other CAD programs. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah,
that would be like release 13, I believe.
I was gonna say R12 or R13. Yeah. And we also see here that Tarek has visited 2 other cities. So there you go. What do you think of that, Chris? Have you ever visited 2 other cities?
Well, if he lives in Egypt, right? Tarek's from Egypt.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. There's a lot of expanse out there. So
yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot to get from one city to another for sure. All right, let's get this next matchup ready. What you got? Now that you've seen these guys compete here, do you have any advice for them?
I think they just got to let it go a little bit more. I feel like there's some tension. There's a lot of pressure. I mean, $500 on the line.
A lot of pressure. Deal. Yep. You gotta move through a lot of these. There's a lot of people watching, I'm sure, but you just gotta let it go, right? Just kind of remember, you're here because you love CAD.
Yeah.
All right, cool, good. All right, well, I think that I am ready for this. I think you are ready for this. I think the audience is ready for this. So let's get into it here. Our next 3D CAD battle here on this September 2nd begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in the bent state in XXX grams? So we're looking at our very first sheet metal challenge. Now, you don't have to use sheet metal. You could definitely do this just using thin features or even thick features. You don't have to use sheet metal. But if you do, we're looking for the mass in the bent state. So, depending on the CAD program, because of bend allowance, K-factor, things like that, the mass in the flattened state might be different from the mass in the bent state. We're looking for the mass in the bent state. The flat pattern is for reference only. This is MMGS, plain carbon steel. Looks like both of our runners are in this. Let's flip over and take a look and see how they address this sheet metal 3D CAD challenge. Our first sheet metal, I think, of the whole tournament.
I am so excited, Toby. I've been waiting for the sheet metal part for a while. Like, this is a big deal. So thank you for that. Tarek's already got a start. He's like, no, he's like, I'm going to win this one for sure. So tell us a little bit about what goes into making this part as a game designer. Like, what did you have to do to make this easy enough to make in, within a few minutes?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I think one of the biggest things is that you really can't have any kind of bend relief, because the different CAD systems will often have too many variables with regards to bend relief. So you'll notice that all of the bends are coming off clean. There's no like little relief cuts cut into this thing. All of the bends start after the point of tangency. I think that's one of the big things you have to do to make it fair to all of the runners. It also has to be something that can be, built without using sheet metal design. If you don't have sheet metal experience, if you don't have sheet metal design experience, or if your CAD system can't handle sheet metal, well, can you still model this thing? And the answer is yes, you definitely can. You definitely can still model this. In fact, we see it looks almost like both of our runners are going to be maybe making that effort to do this thing without using sheet metal features, and that's totally cool. You can totally do that. The default, I think the default inside bend radius for this is, let me see here if I got that print still. I think the default bend radius is 6. It's up there in magenta on this print. Yep, default inside bend radius there is 6. The default wall thickness is 4. So if you wanted to design this whole thing just using fillets and solid features, you totally could. And it would totally work. If you want to design it using sheet metal, that's fine too. That's a good skill to have. And just kind of trying to keep it basic here. We're still in the round of 32. We're not trying to throw too many curveballs at people, but you should know some basics of sheet metal if you're a 3D CAD designer, and if you want to win the entire world championship of 3D CAD speed modeling. So,
man, this is a tricky one, because at SolidWorks World for many years, I think actually it never really changed. They never had a sheet metal part in their Model Mania competition that they have at the SolidWorks World Conference. So, and I asked Mark Schneider once about that. He goes, "Oh yeah, it's a lot harder. Not everybody has that experience." So this is a real challenge for even a seasoned CAD. You could be a long time CAD user who makes prismatic parts for that are CNC'd and stuff. You can have 20 years and not have ever made a sheet metal part or a thin part like this. So way to really challenge people, man.
Yeah, we're gonna see, as we move from the round of 32 into the round of 16, we're gonna see more variety in the parts. We're gonna see more sweeps. We're gonna see more lofts. We're gonna see more sheet metal. We're gonna see some, we're gonna be challenging these guys. We're gonna make sure that we know. And really, it's not even up to me. It's really up to the wheel of fate. It's the wheel that decides who gets what. So, it's you never know what the wheel is going to deliver to you. It's interesting. We see on the right here that it looks like Tarek is struggling a little bit with this sketch. Yep, there he found it. Looks like he was he did not close off that sketch, and so the sketch wasn't able to be extruded. And there you can see that he was able to get that closed off. And look at that thing. That looks pretty good now. He's got a nice little bend there in the corner.
Yeah, the tricky thing for the competitors is going to be really understanding the difference between the inside bend radius and the outside one. For these, your print was pretty good about, highlighting the fact that it was an inside bend radius on that. So that's good.
Yep.
I hope that these guys don't miss that. Could be a game changer.
Could be a game changer. Yeah, we might see a push here. Maybe neither of our runners are going to be able to complete this thing. And there's some other kind of tricky geometry on this thing too. Like Tarek on the right just ended up creating that chamfer there. That looks great. That can be a little tricky as well if you're not used to, like you said, if you're not used to creating thin-walled parts. But he was able to get in there and make that no problem. That's what we like to see.
Wow, I'm sweating. My hands are sweaty because I do a lot of sheet metal modeling, and I teach people how to use sheet metal tools. And I want to say something. I want to jump in and say, well, try this tool, try that tool. But you know what? I'm also learning a little bit of like how people think of this stuff and approach it differently. So it's fun being a spectator in this game.
Yeah, this is really interesting to see. To see how these runners do it. And, I post a lot of these practice models. I post a lot of challenges for the chat, whether it's in Model Monday Live or whether it's in the practice models videos that we release. And you're going to see sheet metal challenges in there too. It's good. This is the whole point of what we're doing with the channel overall. It's not just entertainment. It's also meant to help educate people, help people kind of expand their horizons. And, you never know when somebody's going to come to you and say, hey, can you model this up for me real quick? We need a flat pattern out in the shop. You're the only one here who can do it. we need to get this thing, you know, we need to cut these parts this weekend. Can you do it for me? Can you give me a sheet metal? Can you give me a flat pattern? And having that skill might make you save the day. So always good to learn these skills.
Jed pointed out that creating sheet metal parts is, you know, not necessarily bad or hard, but making them from the print is hard. That's true. It's really true, because one thing I learned from making sheet metal parts a long time ago was I never forget that I took my sheet metal CAD file to a sheet metal shop and I said, "Can you help me make this?" And I said, "Do you need me to make a real detailed flat view for you, a flat pattern print?" Ooh, Tracy's close.
Yeah, Chadwick is
Tracy's
looking
close
good there.
Is he going to hit the mask button here? Or he's thinking, he doesn't want to give a wrong answer. He's checking his.
Yeah, doing the final spin, looking over this thing, but that's looking like a sheet metal part for sure.
Oh, he's ready. He's pulling the trigger on the old mask properties here.
Todd in the chat says, "I'm the rare guy that loves sheet metal." Yeah, I can get down with that, Todd.
Todd, I still have one of my favorite key bottle openers from you. Thank you very much for that, Todd.
Nice.
Todd cut it with a laser. So, okay.
We got Chadwick coming into the chat with an answer: 521 grams. That is incorrect. That is not correct. So Chadwick is going to need to go through. You know, you were doing that final spin, and Chris Castle encouraged you to just answer, and he really led you in the wrong direction there. So Chadwick needs to go through, needs to look at his print. You know, all the inside bend radius are, I think they're 6. The wall thickness is 4, so the outside bend radius is 10. That's just some simple math there, but just in case anybody's not familiar with sheet metal, if the inside bend radius is 6 and the wall thickness is 4, then your outside bend radius is going to be 10. And Chadwick is going through, trying to see if he's got any errors, comparing it to the print. We got JD52WTF in the chat saying, "Sup, crazy CAD people." I'll tell you what's up. We're doing a sheet metal challenge here, and we might have a stumper here.
Yeah, I wonder what Tracy's thinking right now, because he's got his strategies, you know, is hard, because Tarek could essentially, you know, he's already eliminated one wrong answer. You know, he knows what the answer isn't.
Yep.
But at the same time, Tracy doesn't want to make another incorrect answer. This is not a good spot.
This is where the heart rate really goes up. The palms get sweaty. Yeah. The pressure is on, and it's just about.
Tracy has a lot of people back home, you know, counting on him. He teaches this stuff, and it's, no pressure, Tracy.
Yeah, no pressure. You know.
God, you know he loves it. I'll finish what I was gonna say about the sheet metal stuff. What I learned from his sheet metal shops is they want you to provide a very accurate, folded up, bent version of your sheet metal part, because they know how to make that part.
Right.
And you really do have to know the difference between a really good 3D model of your sheet metal part and what it really would look like in the flat. And I highly encourage anybody who's going to consider making a sheet metal part or get it made, go visit a shop, talk to them, get a feel for what their bend radius values are, their what their equipment can do.
Hold that thought 1 second, Chris. Hold that thought 1 second. Tarek coming into the chat with an answer: 608 grams. That is not correct. That is incorrect. So Tarek needs to look over his print, see if he can't figure out maybe what he missed on that thing, if he missed a dimension, if he missed some geometry somewhere in there. But that is incorrect. Tarek coming in there with 608. That is not correct. That is incorrect. So we've had 2 incorrect answers. Chadwick coming in 521. That was not correct. And Tarek coming in 608. Also not correct. We're going to see if either of our runners feels confident enough to revise their answer and to come in with what is, you know, potentially the correct answer. And you know, it's just about kind of looking over that print. This is where things get a little bit dangerous, right? Or a little bit dangerous here on this one. I
don't see it right offhand, like maybe the potential error. I don't see it. I think Tracy feels the same way right now. He's thinking like, what am I missing?
Right, exactly. So just kind of doing doing a final check over. I think that's really important. You got to look back over. Okay, and Chadwick has committed to an answer. That answer is 513 grams. And that is correct.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. So that's going to give Chadwick that second victory point. Very nicely done, Chadwick. That's going to give him the victory cat. It's going to give him the round of applause. Wow. Sick, sick, sick. He says, wrong size slot. Oh, okay. So he found it. He found what it was. What a great matchup there. Wow, 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 guys. GG to both of our runners. GG to Chadwick for moving on to the round of 16. And of course, GG to Tarek for joining us for this matchup, for making it into the tournament. You do have to qualify to make it into the tournament. And Tarek did it. Congratulations to both of our runners. Very nicely done. Great job, great job. Guys, put a GG in the chat for both of our runners. That was awesome.
Yeah, Tarek, I see Tarek being a big contender next year. This is great practice. Tarek, don't give up. Keep working hard. Please come back next season.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And wow. That was pretty tight. Great job, guys. Great job to both of our runners. That was our first sheet metal challenge of the tournament, but definitely not our last. So if you're out there watching and you don't have any sheet metal practice, make sure you get your practice in. You're going to need it. As you can tell, you're going to need it. And also, I just want to say that both of our runners, it looks like they modeled that thing without using sheet metal. They both were on their way to getting the correct answer. So even if you get presented with something that you're like, oh, I've never done sheet metal, or I've never done, this type of a feature, there may be other ways to create it. And sometimes you just got to kind of hack and slash your way through. And ultimately, that's what we saw Chadwick do, and he came up with the correct answer. So congratulations to both of our runners. That was awesome.
Wow. I use sheet metal all the time. I could have done that model, I know, but there's something in me that says I have that flight or fight, right? What is it called? Fight or flight mechanism or whatever. And I think I would just jump right into making, extrusions and stuff like that and just go right at it. I feel like I would forego everything I know about sheet metal to get that done. So I can't judge anybody too hard,
No, yeah, and like you said, you end up kind of defaulting, sticking to what you know. There's definitely a lot of comfort in that, so I totally get it there. All right, guys, well, we're going to move on to our next match. That was really good, really great matchup there between Chadwick and Tarek. Let's move on to our next match in the blue bracket. The blue bracket is sponsored by the crew over at SolidBox, www.mysolidbox.com, for all your professional SolidWorks related needs, hardware, training, consulting. You guys really do it all. And you're also a FEA guy, right?
Well, I want to point out that we've been making training content for Autodesk, Onshape, for SolidWorks. Next, hopefully a Libre. But we work with every CAD software. We do a lot of CAM software as well. Mastercam, we've been a big partner with them for years.
KamSmiff.
Yeah, so that's why we do really appreciate all the software. I did a course, an FEA course for Autodesk Inventor a few years ago. We just did an Onshape certification thing a year before that. So there's so many cool things about each CAD software, and that's why I like this tournament. You get to see them, those different features.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely like a unique opportunity to see how different runners using different CAD systems kind of think through these challenges. So let's take a look, though, at a match between two of the same CAD systems. Will from Brazil using SolidWorks, and KamSmiff from the United States using SolidWorks. So SolidWorks versus SolidWorks action. Guys, if you like this kind of stuff, be sure to hit the like button. We try to get our like ratio and our view ratio to match up. We got about 50 people watching right now. Let's see if we can get that up to 50 likes. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Of course, be sure to share and reshare. And head over to TooTallToby.com, sign up for an account, get your free NFT, get your free TooTallToby cash. Download those PDF practice packs. You can practice 10 models in a row and make sure that you got what it takes to compete in the next tournament. And if you want to support financially, it is always very much appreciated. The super chat is enabled. So if you go down into your chat field, there's a little $sign thing. I know it doesn't always work in all countries, but if you want to throw a few dollars this way towards the channel, it is very much appreciated. We'll get a little super chat train going. And if you're watching the recording, you can do the same thing using super thanks. The financial support is always very much appreciated and all goes towards keeping these tournaments running. So let's also quick shout out here to the t-shirts. The t-shirt site is it may be down right now. It's a little bit funky right now. Maybe hold off on ordering a t-shirt until next week. We'll get it back up and running, but you can always check out the new TooTallToby website. And Anti-Venom's in the chat. What's up, Anti-Venom? Old friend of the show. Great to see you in here. Former contestant in this very tournament. Great to see you in here today. Welcome, welcome. So we're gonna head on down to the, or head on over to the blue bracket now. We see here that on August 12th, we had Victor K, a total thug in the world of SolidWorks, running up against Raj Muhammad. That was an awesome matchup, but it was Victor K who ended up taking the victory. And now, September 2nd, we're gonna see Will versus KamSmiff, and we're gonna see one of these guys win this match and go up against Victor K on September 30th. Let's learn a little bit about our runners. So we can see here that Will is an engineer, works with turbine design for power generation. Nice, simple. There we go, that's it. And we see that KamSmiff is a Navy guy working for the Army. Nice. And stopped using CAD daily over a year ago. Maybe a bit rusty. Okay. All right, this is gonna be a good match. We got a former champion, KamSmiff, who's a little out of practice, kind of coming out of retirement, right? It's like John McEnroe versus Novak Djokovic. Right? So he's coming out of retirement.
It's also worth pointing out that Cam is traveling and having to do he's on a I guess it's the same setup of equipment, but it's all cobbled together at someone's house.
Yes,
right.
Great point. True dedication to the tournament. Cam's in it to win it. So we may see our very first repeat champion, but before we can see any of that, Cam's gonna need to get through Will, and Will has been absolutely crushing it in the Model Monday live challenges against the chat. So this is gonna be a good matchup. I've been looking forward. I look forward to seeing all the matchups, but this one definitely got on my radar, and I think this is gonna be a great matchup. So let's see what happens here in this CAD versus CAD battle. I think once again, I'm just gonna give these guys a chance to kind of warm up a little bit here. So let me just get a quick, maybe a slightly easier practice model together here for these guys. That way we can make sure that all of our systems are working properly. We can make sure that everything is good to go here for these guys. So let's get into it here. Our first practice battle, just a quick practice battle for Will and for Cam, will begin in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXXX grams? So we got a little practice model here. Both of our runners are grabbing a screen capture. Both of our runners are getting their templates ready, getting started here. Let's take a look. Let's see what these guys are up to. We got Will on the left running SolidWorks with the traditional layout. Oh, I like that kind of purple, blue, gradient background. That looks good. We got Cam on the right using the dark theme. We always like dark theme, right? +1 point for Cam for having dark theme. So let's see what these guys come up with for this challenge. It's just a nice, simple challenge. Oh, I like that font that Will is using also. Kind of looking over my systems here, making sure that everything looks good. And wow, they were really neck and neck on that one. Cam comes in with the mass of 3159. Will comes in with the mass of 3159. Guys, I think we are in for an epic set of matches here. So very nicely done to both of our runners. You guys both got it correct. So nicely done. And let's flip over to the Wheel of Fate, and see what the Wheel of Fate has in store for our runners.
You notice that Will also used the right color that was in your print, so I think there's some extra points there.
Bonus points there too. And Tom Schnarr's coming in to the chat with a super chat, the very first super chat of the day. These matches are so awesome. Great job, everyone. Thank you so much, Tom Schnarr's. Very much appreciated. Tom Schnarr's and I used to be roommates a while back, so it's great to see him in here in the chat, hanging out again. All right, here we go. Let's take a look here at our Wheel of Fate. Wheel of Fate for the blue bracket is sponsored by SolidBox. So huge shout out to SolidBox. And Chris, what do you think? What number do you think we're going to end up with on this Wheel of Fate sponsored by SolidBox?
Even a broken clock is wrong twice a day, right? I think I'm going to use that same logic to say 27. Okay. This is his time. It's going to work.
Here we go. Let's see what we got here. The chat is also trying to guess here. We got Machina 35, we got Tayfun feeling 34, Sahil feeling 35, and Will feeling 25, and Gary Bruce feeling 33. Okay, let's see what we end up with here. The Wheel of Fate is now spinning, and let's see what these guys.
Goncalo made a good point. He said there maybe should be a surface challenge for these guys. Surface model.
Maybe we'll see it. Maybe we'll see it. I don't know. Okay, 23. Okay, all right, I can get down with that. So I'm gonna get this this match ready here, these setups. And what do you think, Chris? Any advice for these guys? You just saw them run that practice model. I mean, Do we really need to give them any advice?
No, I don't think so. These guys probably need like a handicap or like the opposite of a handicap, you know?
Oh,
like
yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Especially Cam. I don't know Will, but I rewatched some of the last episodes. I saw Will. I think Will ended up going against the Robin, who didn't show up, right? Was that the last one of the last brackets that he was in? But anyway, this is gonna be good. I can't wait to see Cam show off what he's got here, especially since he's got the handicap of being in someone else's house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's yeah. What is that called? What is the opposite of a handicap? Is when like somebody gets a bonus, right? Like,
yeah, I'm thinking about it. It's just too early. That's another thing I realize is that well, I guess Will's in Brazil, so Tarek was in Egypt, and that's right, like already like 6 o'clock over there or something. I don't know.
Yeah, depending where you are. That's the crazy part about this tournament, is that we're able to get all these people from all over the world, all in different time zones. I think we need to get some more people from like Japan, South Korea. Yeah, that's when. Like,
I was gonna say we need the Asian contingent in here. There's a huge Asian CAD community, so we got to break into that.
I mean, we got a lot of people from India in here, so that's good. That's a good representation. But yeah, I think we need more. We'll welcome everybody. Everybody's welcome here, So
yeah, this is like the true this is like the CAD Olympics,
The CAD Olympics, yeah, I like that. I think for the CAD Olympics, we need to have a physical component too. Like you need to go and make a pot of coffee, and then you need to like change the oil in a car, and then
I'm just waiting for the Russians to put together their own like speed modeling team, and the Indians doing the same thing.
Let's go.
I think it'll be like that. It'll be state sponsored at some point.
Let's go. I love it, man. That's what we need exactly. All right, guys, here we go. We are all ready to go for this thing. Let's flip over to our full screen, and this CAD battle, our official CAD battle, our first CAD battle between Cam and Will, begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in x.xxx pounds? Tolerance of plus or minus 0.003 pounds. The material is ABS. The unit system is IPS, inch, pounds, seconds. So this plastic T, this is my nephew, plastic T. Here we go. Let's get into it here. Our black bracket is sponsored by SolidBox, www.mysolidbox.com. Both of our runners are jumping into it. We see that KamSmiff on the right is using what we would call an extrude technique. It's kind of creating it from one end and extruding it down. Will on the left is using what we call a revolve technique, where he's kind of drawing the cross section. Looks very similar to the cross section of that drawing, kind of just drawing up that cross section and then using that cross section to define his geometry. Both techniques are totally valid in the world of professional 3D CAD. We'll see which one yields the correct answer faster.
Look at Will, from the revolution to the mirror.
Pretty fast.
Oh, Will's fast.
Pretty fast.
Oh, Cam, you got some challenge here, buddy.
Yep, Cam is this guy's work cut out for him. I remember a few years ago, there was kind of a similar part that Cam was doing against Ivan that was kind of problematic for both of them. So the Wheel of Fate is truly delivering a brutal blow to Cam here by providing him with a similar geometry. He's probably getting some post-traumatic stress disorder from having to see the same type of geometry again in the very first matchup. But we'll see how he gets through this one. We see that Cam is, looks like he's actually scrambling, just randomly drawing circles. I don't know if he's having a breakdown or what's going on. We see Will on the left creating that T coming up out of the top of the model. And by adding a few dimensions, Cam was able to regain control of his sketches there on the right.
I like that Will's taking the approach of all his boss. He's placed all his bosses first. All his solid material is in place. Now he's going to cut away at it. That's a great technique.
Indeed. Yep. Starting out with your bosses, doing your cuts, ending with your fillets and your ribs and those types of features. That's a very, very traditional workflow for 3D CAD. Cam on the right, though, already has those holes, and who knows how long it's going to take Will to create those holes. That might end up being his Achilles heel. So this is a fast matchup. My goodness.
I'm curious how Will got the purple color on his part already. I guess maybe his template has that set to be purple, but it's eye catching. It's eye catching. I like it. I like when people customize their interface, and Will's done a great job of that. He's got custom font. He looks way more professional.
And Will opting to use opting to use a sketch pattern versus a feature pattern. Very interesting there. I prefer the feature pattern myself, but I am not running this tournament. Will is running this tournament. But it looks like he was able to get in and create that pattern of holes there pretty darn quickly. He's looking over the print. He's saying, I think that I'm good. Sahil in the chat saying what we're all thinking. So fast. Both of our runners so fast. Will coming in with an answer. 1.735 pounds. And that is correct. So congratulations to Will. Very nicely done. Coming in with that correct answer. And wow. Sahil says you need to watch this at 0.5 speed to really understand what these guys are doing. I completely agree. And my goodness. Wow. Will, that was so great. Fast. And
really good. And you know, he didn't underdefine things. Maybe I missed. I mean, just looking at his feature tree, I can't see any of his sketches on Will's screen, but it looks like he was all fully defined too. So true pro. Yeah, and Cam's coming through here, finishing this thing up using a delete face. We always love it when people use delete face. So we're gonna leave this camera here on Cam, give him a chance to kind of clean this thing up and see what he can do with this. We love when people use delete face. Even if it's not the optimal tool, we still give extra points when people use delete face. So I'm gonna leave this on Cam here, our former champion. We want to show him his due respect, and we're gonna give him a chance to finish this thing out. But maybe we're putting too much pressure on him. I don't know. Yeah, I'd say Toby, that would have the opposite effect on me. I think I would just feel like I don't know what I feel like, but. One thing that I'm just looking back at this part, you know, technique I would have implemented right away. I think I would have been thinking about shelling it, you know, but you do have different thicknesses for the flanges. So, you know, there's maybe a point where you can shell it, right? You could shell it up to a point before you add the flanges, right? You almost need to think about your strategy for like 5 seconds maybe before you even start your first sketch. That might be my recommendation. Yeah. So just think about your workflow in your head. Think about it all the way to the end and then execute. I have a tendency to start CAD modeling, and I realize pretty quickly, I could have done it better. It's usually at that point where I really should just start over. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, and that's kind of the challenge here is you're going up against somebody else. You don't know how fast they are. You don't know how good they're doing. We knew that both these guys were going to be fast, but you know, it's hard to then decide like, I'm going to just go back and do an earlier model. Wow, that was some really Cam in the chat says, I did have PTSD there. Yeah, I'll bet you remembered from that earlier match with Ivan. It was such a similar model. I wish I could say I planned that, but it's really not up to me. It's up to the wheel. So let's turn to the wheel once again and see what we come up with. Guys, if you in the chat want to guess what number we're going to end up with from the Wheel of Fate on this matchup, feel free to type it in the chat. We always like seeing what the chat thinks the wheel is going to provide. The Wheel of Fate is being a cruel mistress today. So we'll see what she comes up with. Let us know in the chat what you think the Wheel of Fate is going to deliver here. And I'm going to give this thing a spin. Chris, do you want to give any final guesses here? I'm committed. I'm all in on 27. Okay, I don't know why. All in on 27. I'm going to guess 27 as well here. Let's see who gets it correct. Come on, wheel. Give us a good one here. Wow, awesome matchup there. And if 27 doesn't hit, I will spend the rest of the day wondering what that model looks like. Yep. Well, I'm sorry. You're gonna be wondering. 35. No, it's gonna happen because what's gonna happen is I think Cam's gonna win this one, and then we're gonna go to 27. That's what's gonna happen. Oh, I love that. That's very good point. Yeah, Cam is he's got all the nerves worked out now. He's shaking it all off, and he's ready for 35. 35. We're going deep here. Okay. Oh, Tracy called it. Stay away from Vegas. Yes, sir. I live close to Vegas, and I know better. I don't even bother. Yeah, that's good advice too. So wow. So now we've seen these guys match up a little bit. Let's learn just a little bit more about our runners here as we go into the second match of our what I think is going to be a 3 matchup as well. We also see here that Will has been using SOLIDWORKS since 2009. So that is a lot of experience. Wow. You know, you and I were talking about this before the stream. 2009, that was just like 2 years ago, right? I know. Oh, wait, no. He looks so young. I don't know how he can be 14 years ago. Oh. Wow. Oh. And Cam says, I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy who likes vegan food too. Okay, nice. And Cam says, I like a good IPA or porter. Nice. Very nice. So what do you think
for this matchup, what advice would you give to our runners?
You know, I have a feeling that Cam was just totally sandbagging us right there. I think he was kind of taking his time, giving Will some false confidence, and you know, now he's gonna go for the knees. I don't know. That's just I have a feeling that that's what happened, because I've seen Cam in the last few years, so I know he's gonna bring it.
Yeah, you know what's up. Well, I'll tell you what, just give me a minute here, guys. I just realized that something's a little bit out of line. I'm going to flip over to my my full screen webcam just for a minute here. I got to do something on my computer. Something's a little bit out of line here on my system. So, Chris, I'm going to keep talking to you, but I have
a story about CAD and about like going down the wrong path. So,
okay, please.
I think it was 1998. I was using SOLIDWORKS. A friend of mine, he got me hooked up with some SOLIDWORKS. He goes, you can use this for your project. I like most people using or learning their CAD software, I kind of figured it out. I was making it work for what I needed. And I got into this this spot where I really needed help. I was making an assembly. I was making a suspension for like an F1 car, like for the Formula SAE car that they do competition. They do in some universities here in the United States. But I remember being stuck. And I was just trying to beat it and try to figure out what was wrong with my SOLIDWORKS model. And I called this guy, Mike Boucher. He had some SOLIDWORKS experience. He said, "Hey man, here's what I tell you." He's like, "How long you been working on this?" I'm like, "I'm into this model 8 hours, maybe even 10. I don't know." He goes, "Here's my advice to you." He says, "Start over from scratch." Wow. And I was like, are you kidding me? I have 8 hours in this, man. Like, I'm not gonna just start over. But I got to a point where I'm like, I can't make it work. I will start it over. And guess what? It took me like 30 minutes, if that, to recreate everything I had done in that last 8 hour block. And I did it right. So point of my story is what I learned so long ago was that totally starting from scratch sometimes gives you a new perspective, but you've already put the hard work in. You already kind of know what you have to do to get back where you're at, and you do it better. So that's the one thing I always tell people with CAD software is don't ever hesitate to cut bait and do it again from scratch. I don't know if you guys would agree with that. I'm curious in the chat if you can relate to that, or if you have a similar story. But that's where I'm at, man. I'm in that boat where I'm like, I don't have the, what do they call it, the sunk cost fallacy. Is that what it's called, Toby? Right? I think you've mentioned that to me before. Yeah. Sunk cost fallacy. So anyway, that's my advice.
Yeah. Don't throw. We say in poker, don't throw bad money in after bad money. Really. Like. Yeah, that's a good point. You know, like so if you start. Does that?
You know, the thing is my advice work in this CAD tournament? I don't know. I think you got one shot at this, and then you gotta just keep going.
Yeah. I think that you're correct. It's great advice. But sometimes, you know, sometimes in these tournaments, sometimes you just get to the point where you're like, oh, what am I going to do? Sometimes you just got to start over, like you said, but man, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I see the chat coming in and saying, you know, yeah, they agree for sure. Especially when you don't have a specific thing to design, you need to figure it out from zero. Yeah, but it wouldn't work here. Yes, indeed. And KamSmiff says beer. So there you go. Good feedback.
Maybe he's already celebrating. Maybe he's already like that confident.
Yeah, he's ready. All right, guys. Well, I'm ready too. You guys are ready. I know you guys are all ready. Thanks a lot for giving us that story, Chris. That gave me the perfect amount of time to fix the thing that was going on here. So nice. Let's get into it with our next matchup in this epic CAD battle between these two champions. Here we go. We're gonna flip over to full screen on this September 2nd, and this match begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXXX grams? Both of our runners are grabbing the screen capture of this thing. Both of our runners are jumping into a new part and beginning their first sketch. Let's flip over to this CAD versus CAD battle and see what they come up with for this thing. So as always, you know, you have to start out by deciding what's going to be my starting plane, what's going to be my starting profile. It's interesting to see that both of these guys are starting with this thing looking down on it from the top. So, yeah. Or no, you know, I think I spoke too soon. I think actually Will is doing this or Cam is doing this from the front view. Will is doing it from looking down from the top. I thought Cam was going to go into a mirror there. But yeah, so we have a very different approach here from both of our runners.
Mm-hmm. I like that Will has already incorporated the fillet, that rounded profile into the top profile sketch, and that's good because that will help him locate that hole he's trying to put there. That's good.
Yes, yes, indeed. A little bit of a tricky geometry there. It's like a double hole there in the front, a counter bore, you might call it in the world of engineering. But as always, we see both of our runners here kind of taking a little bit of a different approach, trying to come up with how they're going to build this thing and trying to decide what's the best way to start this. What's the best starting profile? What's the best starting plane? I'm sure you've said that to many students in your classes, Chris. You got to decide on your starting profile and your starting plane.
Yes. I like that. God, it's hard to actually keep up with both screens at the same time because they're going so quickly. I mean, I'm having to scan back and forth. It's not necessarily the easiest thing to commentate on because it's so fast.
Yeah, they are. They really are both so fast, and they're both. You know, we saw that Will got off to a really quick start, but we see that Cam is just out to win this right now. He's already in there, already creating that second feature. You know, that approach that Cam decided on seems like it really works out for him, that he really understands, has a good game plan on how to create this model. He's already creating that rear kind of curved section, taking advantage of tangency, making sure he's got all his dimensions correct. So, and Will is taking a very different approach.
Will incorporates a lot of fillets into his sketches. And again, it's not always the best strategy, but for this model, it kind of works. And he's having it's not slowing him down at all.
Correct. Yeah. And Cam coming in here, getting that sketch black. As we see, when these sketches go from blue to black, that means they're what's called fully defined or fully constrained. It means that all the geometry required for that sketch has been locked down, has been defined. And that's really what we go for every sketch, because, you know, we need to get this mask correct. We need to get it correct at 4 significant digits with plus or minus two significant digits, or 2 grams. So it's, you know, it's pretty tight tolerance on this thing. If you don't define your sketches, you're not going to get the mask correct within tolerance. So that's what we see our runners doing. If you're watching at home and you're wondering what these colors mean on these sketches, when it goes from blue to black, that is what you want. We see Cam here using a rib feature for that kind of brace. I love the rib feature. I'm going to give Cam an extra point for that as well. Not a victory point, but just an extra Toby point for that.
Yeah, I've looked at many of your models and thought there's an opportunity to use the rib tool, and I haven't seen a lot of the competitors using that tool. You know, it's not just a SOLIDWORKS tool; it's available in Inventor as well. I think it's a little harder to use in Inventor, but every CAD software has kind of an equivalent thin feature, I've noticed. So yeah, I hope the more competitors are using that feature. It's so quick for making that kind of geometry. Oh, look at Will. He's putting up a mask.
Wow. I was watching Cam. Cam was working on that sketch, and the sketch yielded some other colors, a red color, which means that the sketch has some kind of a problem in it. And I didn't even see that Will had it looked like he had finished up. Maybe he's taking a moment here, looking over his numbers. I didn't see it. You didn't see an answer come in from Will, right?
I did not. I saw him pull up the mask properties, but I think he's second guessing himself a little bit here.
Okay. Maybe he saw something that looked off.
Looks like Cam's trying to get this profile with the this kind of tangent tombstone looking thing.
Yep. Sahil in the chat says, "Hey, Toby, what about modeling real world products, real life products?" Yep, I do that a lot. I model a lot of real life products. I do a lot of demos, tutorials on real life products on my YouTube channel and on the Onshape YouTube channel. So if you want to see any of those, check those out. I do a lot of real world solutions, a lot of 3D printing, inventions, solutions. And try to document it as much as I can on the channels to help people, you know, who want to take CAD and bring it into the real world.
You know, look at this. Important. Will's really taking his time here. He knows he has an advantage over Cam. Mm-hmm. Double checking. He's using his measure tool to measure every aspect of his model before he gives an answer. That's total pro stuff right there.
Yeah, it doesn't want to end up. Oh, okay. I see an answer did come in from Will there. The answer that Will came in with is 2730, and that is correct. That is correct. So congratulations to Will. That gives him the second point in this matchup. Wow. That was awesome. GG to both of our runners. You can see that Cam has popped out his command manager. Always a fun moment when that happens, when you pop out that command manager. Very nicely done to both of our runners. You can double click on that command manager. That's a pro tip for you, Cam. Double click, that'll redock it for you. And congratulations to both of our runners. That was an awesome matchup. All of our runners today, really. We really had some good matches today. But that is going to secure the second point for Will and allow Will to move on in the tournament. And congratulations to Cam, who's been a member of the TooTallToby community for a very, very long time. And it's great to see him here in the tournament. Cam is actually playing from the road, so thank you for your dedication, Cam, to the tournament. And GG to both of our runners in that matchup. If you guys want to put a GG in the chat for Will, a GG in the chat for Cam, and really for all of our runners today. Today was an awesome set of matchups. In the black bracket, we had Chadwick and Tarek Shohdy. In the blue bracket, we had Will and KamSmiff. Thank you guys all so much for being a part of this tournament. And great job, really. Great job to everybody today. Some really fun matches today. And wow. That was intense. Way to go, Will from Brazil, Cam says in the chat. Always a true sportsman, a true gentleman. So thank you. Tayfun in the chat says GG to Toby and Chris. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Chris, so much for being the co-commentator today. That was awesome having you in here. Guys, don't forget, if you're heading out, be sure to hit that like button on your way out the door. Be sure to share and reshare. Grab a screen cap of what we're doing today. Share it on your social media networks. That's how we leverage the network effect. Even if you just send it out as a screen capture to your friends and family, they might know somebody who's in engineering, and that will help to grow the channel. If you want to support financially, Super Chat and Super Thanks are available for those watching live and for those watching the recording. T-shirts will be available again next week. The shirt shop is down, or sort of down right now. Don't forget to check out the new TooTallToby website at TooTallToby.com/calendar. You can sign up for all of the upcoming episodes of the tournament. And also on the YouTube playlist at youtube.com/TooTallToby. Guys, next week we have a really epic matchup with Josh, who's the #2 seed in the tournament, going up against Abel. Inventor versus SolidWorks once again. We'll see if Inventor is able to secure a win again. And we're going to have Mr. Alex from a small country going up against Jihan Rafa from Egypt. SolidWorks versus SolidWorks once again next week. And that will be the end of our round of 32. So very excited to move into this round of 16. The matches are just going to get that much more intense. But thank you again, Chris. Guys, put a 1 in the chat if you enjoyed having Chris here. Chris, I really enjoyed having you here today.
Hey, I love you. I love it being here, man. You guys are awesome. This is the best community. It's the best. Yeah. I can't wait to see everybody in real life in where, Philadelphia? Where's the
a little outside of Philadelphia. That's where we're going to do the November 11th event. We'll have some details. But I thought today went really smooth. So I think that this is our test for today for the 11th. I think it went great. So I think we're going to be golden for the 11th. And that gets me excited too. I will get you guys some details on the YouTube channel, but also on the TooTallToby channel. So be sure to sign up for the TooTallToby.com website. But yeah, I will see you in person on November 11th.
Yeah, man, I can't wait.
Yeah.
We need Sahil there. I hope he's there.
Yeah. I hope Sahil can make it out.
That guy parties.
Yeah, this guy knows how to party for sure. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you to the chat. You guys are the most amazing chat ever. I'll be back on Monday. Model Monday Live is going to go live at 11 o'clock on Monday. I'll throw up the ad for that later today, so you guys can add that to your calendar. Model Monday Live, we'll build some of these models in Onshape, and we'll continue to talk about the website and some of the benefits you get from the website. We got a lot of good stuff rolling out on the website, a lot of interactivity for the members of the website. So right now it's just kind of like beta, sign up, get that foundation in place, get your free NFT, get your PDF party pack if you want to do a practice session with you or your team or whatever. But there's going to be a lot more functionality rolled out here over the next couple of months for that website. So check it out, everybody. Chris, any final thoughts for the chat?
No, I just think everyone should go back, go to your Model Monday Live and just practice. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Practicing against the chat. Even in Model Monday Live, it gets intense. Like, it gets your heart rate up because it's like, who's going to get the answer first? So let's go. Thank you guys so much. Great job to everybody. And I will see everybody on Monday in Model Monday Live. I'll see everybody next week on September 9th in the next and final matchups in the round of 32. And then we're going to be into the round of 16. The models are going to get more complicated. I'm excited to see how they go. Thank you again so much, Chris. Thank you again so much to everybody in the chat. We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.